Digital assets are global. It moves 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. To be able to work with Ripple is going to be a key competitive edge for BDEX. BDEX is at the center of this transformative landscape to providing the best-in-class user experience as institutions are being first introduced to digital assets in Korea.
Hey, what's going on, Bull Runners? Welcome back to the channel. Ryan Huggins here, aka Win with Ryan. Imagine this. You're watching your XRP climb towards $3, betting big on this next breakout, when suddenly, bam, over $7 million in long positions get vaporized in a single day. A 903% liquidation imbalance hits like a hidden trap, dragging the price below the key level and leaving traders reeling. It's the kind of quiet market shift that feels orchestrated, almost too perfect to be random. But here's the twist that changes everything. While XRP bleeds, $1.6 billion in real cash is about to flood back into the hands of everyday creditors from that FTX collapse starting September 30th, which is just days away. That's not pocket change. It's a massive liquidity wave that could quietly rebuild trust and spark the next buying frenzy. And amid it all, Gary Gensler, the old guard of crypto crackdowns, is digging in his heels, defending his iron-fisted rules, even as the SEC flips the script under the new leadership. If you're not tuned in right now, you might miss how this $1.6 billion unlock turns yesterday's pain into tomorrow's profit. So stick around because we're breaking it all down for you in the next few minutes. And trust me, this is the edge that you've been waiting for. Plus, we'll be heading over to X to find out all the breaking news that's happening in the crypto world today. We'll head over to Forex Factory and do a recap of last week's red folder news and an advanced look at next week, what's going to be important in the financial market. We're going to head over to Altcoin Pro and look at one of our top analysts' information on the macro market update on the Fed, the dollar, and liquidity in focus. And what was this 903% liquidation of XRP? Will that $1.6 billion affect you and your gains? And Gary Gensler is doubling down on his crackdowns. And so much more in today's video. So if you're like most people where you don't have the opportunity to spend hours a day doing crypto research, well, that's what we do for you every single day on this channel. So make sure you subscribe right now. And if you are still feeling bullish about this current bull run, let me know by commenting 777 down below.
Do you love crypto, but are you worried about taxes shrinking your retirement nest egg? Here's the deal. Trading and selling crypto can trigger capital gains taxes eating into your wealth. A crypto IRA fixes that. Per IRS publication 590B, traditional IRA gains like those from crypto aren't taxed until distributed. That's why we've partnered with iTrust Capital, a leading crypto IRA company in the USA, to sponsor today's video. And they offer institutional grade custody for retail clients that want to set up their crypto IRAs for retirement, leveraging top storage solutions like Fidelity, Wells Fargo, and Coinbase Prime to keep your assets secure. To get started, simply click the link in the description of this video, sign up for free, and fund your account with cash. They also offer 401k rollovers or crypto transfers, and you can trade 24/7 with just 1% transaction fees and no maintenance costs. As always, I'm not a CPA or financial advisor, so consult one for tax advice, and we do earn a commission if you sign up using our link below to fund your crypto IRA account, but that helps support value-based videos like this. And iTrust Capital already has over 200,000 crypto IRA accounts and over $14 billion in transactions, proving they're trusted by smart investors just like you. So click the link below, get started now by funding your account today, and let's create generational wealth together.
Heading over to CoinMarketCap, check on the overall health of the crypto market. We are currently trading at $4.04 trillion total market cap on some very light volume, only $96 billion in trading in the last 24 hours. Fear and greed index still remaining in that neutral zone. We do want to see it breach that and get into greed level. That's where the market really starts to move, but unfortunately, it's not getting any momentum. 48 out of 100. Altcoin season hanging on for dear life right now. 78 out of 100, just barely recently breaking above that 75 level back on the 17th. Bitcoin dominance about to break into the 56% level. We're currently sitting at 57.1. Bitcoin ETF tracker final report. So we finished the week last week at $221 million for the inflows that final day, bringing the total inflows for last week to $885 million. Ethereum's final day got a $53 million inflow, bringing its total weeks worth of inflow $561 million. Top 6 cryptos by total market cap. Bitcoin number 1 at 115,800. Ethereum at number 2 at 44.96. XRP at number 3 at $2.98. Tether at number 4 at $1. BNB at number 5, breaking new all-time highs again. Over $1,000 consistently now, $1,039. And number 6, Solana at $240. So when we take a look at the market outlook last week, it was all positive news. As we can see, core retail sales was higher than they expected. Retail sales month over month higher than, and significantly higher. We also had the federal funds rate did drop, which was fantastic. However, the 10-year yield went up and mortgages went up. So that was kind of a backfire there. That was a very small drop compared to what we really need to feel anything in this economy. But also positive news, unemployment numbers came out forecasted at 241,000, only 231,000 unemployment claims. So this was all very positive news last week. And if you take a look at the NASDAQ, you can see the traditional markets did respond very powerfully to the upside. And if we take a look at our short-term momentum waves, it has bounced off the 25 on its way up for this weekly. Could see a nice surge in traditional index markets next week. Speaking of next week, we are going to see some manufacturing inflation numbers and some services inflation numbers. You can see the projections here. The GDP, in my personal opinion, is the largest thing that can come out next week. Fed chair is going to come out and speak, Jerome Powell. That usually gets a lot of volatility. But this number right here, if it is a really strong number, 3.3 is what it's forecast. If we get 3.4, 3.5, 3.6% GDP, we could see some amazing things happen in the markets next week. Unemployment claims always on Thursdays. It's forecasted at 235. We'll see if we get another strong number next week as well. And on Friday, the PCE numbers will be coming out. So we will keep you updated on all the Red Folder news next week as well. Make sure you subscribe if you like traditional finance as well as crypto. We will keep you up to date. Now, as you saw in the intro of the video, customer spotlight, BDAX from Korea, one of only 4 licensed crypto custodians in South Korea, is delivering secure institutional access, XRP, RLUSD, and other tokenized assets with Ripple custody. If you want to learn more about how BDAX is working with Ripple, bring the benefits of blockchain tokenization, they have a much larger blog post over here on their website. Feel free to head over there and check it all out. Also, huge news for this upcoming week. We got a great post from James Rule XRP. Probably nothing. Just kidding. DC FinTech Week is coming up. Co-hosts Amazon Web Services, Visa, the FinTech Foundation. Platinum sponsors Davis Polk, Robinhood, Citi, Circle, Gibson Dunn, Chainlink, Ripple, Ondo, and Intuit. So we continue to see the work together of traditional finance and crypto finance going forward. And happy birthday to Ripple. Cheers to 13 years XRP, now 13 years old. As you know, the XRP ETF finally launched last week. It's doing okay, but as we see right here, we have a lot more to go coming up in October. Now, as you heard me talk about in the beginning of this video, $1.6 billion worth of FTX is being released on September 30th. There's going to be a ton of liquidity. People could then pump into XRP, getting ahead of the buy the rumor, sell the news event of the ETFs launching for XRP. So the FTX distribution marks the 3rd payout to creditors of the former exchange as it continues distributing the total of 16.5 billions in funds. And I know a lot of you guys out there are geniuses, have been in crypto for many years, and probably were involved holding some tokens on FTX. So you felt the pain and you are ready for yours to be paid back to you as well. This is the 3rd distribution that includes a 6% payout for .com customer claims, a 40% distribution for U.S. customer entitlement claims, and a 24% distribution for general unsecured claims and digital asset loan claims. Convenience claims will receive 120% reimbursement as part of September's payout. FTX creditors will receive an email that the distribution has been sent to distribution providers, includes those previously distributed claims, overstated claims. The claims portal will update on the 22nd in September of 2025. Funds will be credited by distributed providers on September 30th, 2025. Now, Gary Gensler's doubled down on his crypto approach while he was the lead of SEC.
They are reversing a lot of what you did. And how are you feeling about what they're doing now?
So I'm very proud of what we accomplished.
And the crypto community is ecstatic not to have you there anymore and to have him there. Looking back on it, I mean, do you think that was the right call?
Yes, I think.
Because look, now we have this like burgeoning industry and there's so much more innovation and leadership in the US.
And a lot more capital coming into it. There may be more capital in terms of the interest in the public. The public is interested. I get that. But for investors,
Do you think this is dangerous, what they're doing?
put aside Bitcoin, but most of the other tokens are not tied to any fundamentals. Like Warren Buffett would say, what are the goods? What are the revenues? What are they selling?
As you heard the host there in the video, absolutely roasting Gary Gensler, pointing out the fact that crypto fans absolutely despised him, even investors not happy with him. But Paul Grewal, from the chief legal officer of Coinbase, says, since you are suddenly in the mood to talk, where are those text messages you were required by law to preserve? Now, if you don't remember, just recently it was coming out during a investigation into what he was doing at the SEC, being Gensler, the text messages about all of the different things he was pulling off with his people suppressing the crypto community have been deleted, and no one can find them. While Gensler served as SEC chair from 2021 to 25 amid crypto market downturn, a massive fraud through cryptocurrency exchange FTX, and many companies filing for bankruptcy, the agency under Trump has radically changed its approach. So if you remember, it comes out that Gary Gensler's his goal at the SEC at the time was to stop crypto from taking off. And he did a great job of suppressing it, as you just heard, all of these things that he had accomplished while he was there. Negative things, but massive accomplishments for his regime and what they were trying to stop from happening. In addition to the lawsuits and investigations against many crypto companies being dropped by the acting SEC chair, Mark Ueda, as soon as he got in and they were able to get Gensler out, the agency's leadership has gone on to say that very few tokens are securities and introduce streamlining listing standards for cryptocurrency exchange funds, which we've been talking about all this week, which is very, very exciting. We're going to jump over to the XRP charts here shortly, but what's going on fundamentally? Why is the price going down? Well, XRP did get hit by a 903% liquidation imbalance just over the last 24 hours. CoinGlass data shows that XRP bulls have been caught unaware as the price took a plunge contrary to the expectations it would rally. Notably, in the last 24 hours, approximately $7.93 million wiped out as a result of price volatility. Long traders lost a staggering $7.2 million, up to 903%. It indicates a lot of XRP holders were betting on a further increase in the value as the asset before it nosedived. And it's worth mentioning that XRP is not the only asset with liquidation imbalance set against the bulls. Ethereum, which posted the highest liquidation figures, saw long position traders lose $61 million as August short position traders lost $4.14 million. XRP awaiting an October rally. Well, interesting analysts have been attributed to stagnation in XRP's price to a deliberate suppression move by institutional interests. And as you know, it's no secret, but there are a lot of claims that powerful financial institutions are manipulating the asset's growth to accumulate the asset cheaper. According to Jim Willie, were it not for the price manipulation, XRP could have soared between $7 and $8 last run. The analyst considers XRP as an alternative liquidity to US fiat, hence the huge bet by institutional interest. Regardless, most market participants appear to be waiting for October when the price of most crypto assets historically records a rally. The current low trading volume, which is down 28.6 at 3.83 billion, suggests a cautious pullback by investors. Heading over to Altcoin Pro University. If you want to join us, by the way, we do have a community. The link is down in the description. We give out amazing analysis. I'll go over a few more things at the end of this section here of what is all included. But one of the most amazing things, we have nearly 1,000 people worldwide that are communicating together and help build this community. But let's look at the macro market update. So we did have a Fed pivot, 25 basis point cut, and 2 more are expected this year. The dollar strategy, which is the Dixie, the dollar has already slipped 12%. A deeper move toward 88 Dixie would flood liquidity and could extend the US cycle into 2026. ISM as a signal, which is the Institute for Supply Management, is under 50, which has historically been a buy zone for Bitcoin, Ethereum. Above 55 is usually the exit. We have a liquidity backdrop. Fed liquidity keeps hitting new highs despite weak economic data, quietly fueling crypto upside. And you continue to hear people talk about the M2 money supply, which is continuing to grow. So that should also have assets continue to grow. Plus, we now have the FTX liquidity coming into the market. But the bottom line is weakening economy plus rising liquidity is a bullish mix for crypto into 2026, but short-term volatility is expected. And here we have the chart for the Fed watch. Where is the interest rates going to be? So we're talking about September 2025. We did end up getting the cut down 25 basis points. We have one coming in October. They say we're going to get another 25 basis points. Then December, another 25 basis points. That's a pretty high potential there at 86%. When we get into January, though, they say the cuts might end up getting stopped out at that point. So could we be going down to a 3.5 or 3.7% federal funds rate? We'll keep a very close eye on that. And here is that ISM, as we talked about, breaking above the 55 level would be the exit. You can see we are deep down into oversold territory. We've got a long room to make a way to the upside. And then we also have our US dollar index, which is about to break below a trend line, heading down to the $88 rate. Market update continued here. Weak data, rising liquidity, what it means for crypto. Well, the narrative that US labor market data is fake has gained momentum, while the official reports have often masked underlying weakness. The trend is clear. Growth is slowing. Unemployment is ticking up higher. Even though those unemployment numbers are coming in, those reports are a little different than the actual job reports. So you have to compare both. Some people are just not entering into the workforce, but they're also not applying for unemployment, if that makes sense. So even though unemployment claims are not continuing to climb sky high, people are just not going to work, or some companies are just not hiring. So watch for the Fed panic or pivot. The Fed just cut rates 25 basis points as we expected. There's a geopolitical play coming in. Trump is ramping up tariffs threat for the China and India up 100%, which adds global risk. No Ukraine resolution in sight, but neither side appears eager to escalate right now. Oil remains a key election year variable. Trump needs to lower prices. I just got gas here in Southern California. I paid over $5. Now, unfortunately, California does have exorbitant prices because of our local government does a horrible job and believes gas is bad. It's going to ruin the whole entire world. And they tax us for that. But $5, I've got friends paying $3.50 in different states. But the gas prices, low prices are needed, right? To help Trump get reelected, which may push the US towards more deals with producers like Venezuela, Iran, or even Russia. Dollar devaluation strategy. The dollar index already slid 12%. If Trump pushes it further down to that 88 level, liquidity would expand sharply, potentially expanding the U.S. economic cycle into late 2026, lining up right with the midterms, ladies and gentlemen. So some takeaways: a weak economy plus liquidity equals constructive setup for crypto. People are looking for another way to make money, and crypto is kind of the only outlet for that right now. The Fed watch, we're going to watch for 25 basis, bullish, 50 basis short-term risk off. Fundamentals aren't bad as the sentiment implies. Liquidity is quietly expanding. Labor market supply is tightening due to immigration cuts. Tax revenues are holding steady. This isn't a 2008 style collapse in the making yet. It's a weakening economy, strong liquidity cycle, and that's historically bullish for crypto. Is this the perfect storm for a crypto melt-up in 2026? Or just another Fed-driven head fake? So again, if you want to join Altcoin Pro, the link is down below. You can see here we do a market update basically every day for you from one of our top analysts. We also have altcoin picks if you're looking for something that's going to do well long-term, not meme coins. We just had one right here from Nick putting this out here. If you missed Aster, which is also still an incredible opportunity out there, we can also take a look at CDL, which currently has a market cap of 70 million. It's on the BNB chain, and the contract address is here. We also have DeFi yield picks if you're into earning yield off the crypto that you already hold. If you want to learn how to get airdrops and which ones are profitable, we have those, crypto news, and so much more. So again, join the nearly 1,000 people worldwide. Click the link down in the description, get a 14-day free trial. We'd love to see you there. All right, let's head over to TradingView and take a look at a couple of things. First and foremost, I want to pull up the Dixie here, which is the dollar. We're going to go to the Heikin-Ashis, and we're going to look for some supply and demand zones, because where price is right now, we can see it is getting into a potential supply and demand support area. But if it breaks that level, as we were talking about in that update, we could see a continued drop. So as we can see right here, during the push up, there was this interference here. We always use this very last candle of this interference zone before the next move up. And in fact, this is the level here above us we can use. That'll be a resistance when it starts heading back to the upside. But as you can see right now on the weekly charts here, it did just bounce off of this zone. If it does lose that level, we could see a return to these levels here, which is the 94. And then we can continue our drop all the way down to levels here, which is the 89 as the bottom. And this would be getting us into those levels we were talking about in that report, right? The $90, $89 level, or as he was saying, even the ultimate low, which I don't see it breaking below these levels, but you can see that $88 is what he talked about as a potential low for us. Now, it would be crazy insane if we did have some sort of situation where it was not very good at all for the dollar and the dollar just crashed. Then you would see a return to the levels down here as our next level of support, 85 to 84. So those are our levels to look at on the way down. Again, on the way back up, once we start to recover here, then we're going to be bouncing back into these 100 levels as far as the Dixie goes. Now, one thing to keep in mind, we're looking at the weekly chart. We are starting to climb up a tad to the upside, but we're in bearish territory without a doubt. And what's really scary about this, because we obviously want the dollar to be strong, just naturally, if you're in the United States, you want your currency to do well. But our short-term momentum wave has officially crested at the top of 100, meaning it is ready to reset back to the downside to zero again, right? So it goes from 0 to 100, 0 to 100. It does this cycle on the waves. As we can see here last time, the dollar was up at these levels and it was at the 100 and it started to make a turn to the downside for a cycle reset to zero. We can see how massive of a downturn this was, which was from 110 now, it got to the zero level reset right about here, which was the 103, and that was the support and resistance level there. But what happened after it reached this level? Even worse news. This was during the bullish cycle of it. It broke down below into bearish territory, and it's been leaking ever since. And there is a possibility that this really does start to cycle down again. If the dollar starts to really crash, you're going to have to get out of the dollar into more risky assets such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. But the most traditional asset when the dollar is crashing is gold. And as we can see here on gold, it has been continuing to rally. If we look at this level right here from January 2025, prices were $2,600. Now we're at $3,600. It's up $1,000. Gold is up $1,000 since January. We are just turning up short-term momentum. Mid-term momentum's rising. Like there's room for gold to continue running. But let's go back to the dollar and let's take a look. Where is January 2025, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my gosh. Isn't that crazy that it coincides exactly with where gold took off to the upside? So when the dollar is crashing, people buy safe haven assets, gold, silver, things of that nature. And what's becoming digital gold, Bitcoin, and crypto? So let's go ahead and take a look at XRP on the daily charts here. It is not looking very good short term for multiple reasons here, unfortunately. Now, the only thing I'm hoping for is that this is going into a consolidation phase rather than a breakdown phase, because right now we are running bullish on the daily charts. As you can see right here, our long-term momentum is green, so we're bullish, but our short-term momentum has started its cycle reset back to zero from 100. Now, this could be positive news if our midterm momentum wave stays riding up top, but if this recycles to zero and then heads back up, then that's really strong for us. However, if it recycles to zero and midterm momentum starts to cycle to zero, then look what happened last time. Cycle to zero here, cycle to zero here, and that's when we had a drop. From our all-time high now, 366, down to these lows, all the way down to $2.72. Now, also what we've been following along with is the moon cycles, right? So we've started to realize that especially on XRP, not on all tokens, but XRP specifically, XRP does not pump to the upside during a new moon phase. Full moons, you can see we've had a move to the upside. This full moon, it had a move, but it was stalled out because it ran into some extreme resistance here and people were taking profits. This full moon ran to the upside. But let's look at the new moon cycles. We have a new moon here. All of a sudden, candles turn red. We have a new moon here. All of a sudden, candles turn red. We have a new moon here, and we traded sideways. We went from 216 to 230. So that's a 15-cent move. That's very strong during a new moon cycle that was leading into the full moon, which absolutely dominated. And we were hoping that this full moon cycle was going to push us up to the upside. Well, unfortunately, the new moon cycle steps up September 21st, and that'll last until we get our next full moon, October 6th. Now, a couple of things come into play for October 6th. First and foremost, at the end of September, September 30th, as you heard, FTX releases their money. People are going to have some extra liquidity, and they can pump that into the market. Also coming in October, like we said, is it going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event? You pump your bags of XRP into the end of October where all those ETFs launch and it starts to pump to the upside. We'll continue to monitor that as well. But let's go back in a little more history here. New moon, red candles. New moon, red candles. New moon, red candles. New moon, red candles. But Trump says XRP is going to be in the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Anomaly, not supposed to happen there. New moon, red candles. New moon, one red candle, then some green, then it came back to essentially the same level before a full moon launch. New moon, this is what I want to see. Right? Pump into the new moon, consolidation. That's what I want. I want price to just remain the same. It can do this little bit here, but if it could consolidate sideways, and it essentially did that from here all the way to this one. Boom, it finally got a nice move to the upside. Let's go back to July 2023. Full moon, pop. New moon, drop. New full moon, nothing. New moon, it's like the new moon energy has stronger power. We got one right here, new moon, little pump, but also consolidation back. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping for a consolidation rather than a drop. We also have a couple of things coming up here. We have support and resistance we ran into. We're dropping below. There is a new supply and demand zone to catch us here at $2.77. Could drop through to 270. But really, if we do consolidate, maybe start moving forward or up slightly into this supply and demand zone, we're going to have trouble breaking that one anyway of 330. All right, turning off moon cycles, heading over to look at our spider lines. And we're going to take a look at spider lines, support and resistance now. As you can see, the yellow line, unfortunately, did catch us as a strong resistance. It hit through, it spiked through nice. Body couldn't close above it. Unfortunately failed. Attempted a second time, rejected off of that one on September 18th. Now we're dropping down. We do have a support level candle here at 291. After the 291 level in the drop, if we switch to logarithmic, then we get the potential stoppage of the droppage here at 278. That's where it stopped last time. Okay, now if we lose those levels, then the next level down is 255. So right now, there's not many signs of bullishness. The other thing to take a look at that's kind of bearish as well, unfortunately, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but when we take a look at the trend lines as well, so price broke above the trend line here, September 13th, broke above it again, failed again. So it's having a real struggle getting above that trend line. Now, before we had this trend line down here, and we were excited because we had to break out above that trend line. We did say that there's a likelihood of price actually retesting this before taking off to the upside. Now, if we retest that and we look at it on the logarithmic, it does actually break below this level of support.
Hey, bull runners, check this out. If you want to learn how to find the next 10x, 50x, or even 100x altcoin in this video, listen to this. Our research team posted GOAT on the 13th of October of 2024 when it was right at a penny, and since then it rallied to over $1 and is currently still up over 5,000%. That's like turning $1,000 into over $50,000. Our team called Pendle at only a $16 million market cap, or 16 cents, back on February 18th of 2023, all the way back here, and since then it's rallied up over 4,000%. That's a 40x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $40,000. Our team also called BitTensor Tau September 15th, 2022, before the token was ever even launched. And since then, Tau has rallied over 2,000%. 1,000%. That's a 20x. Our team even said Solana is most likely to be one of the easiest trades next year, and this was posted December 29th, 2022, on the day that Solana bottomed out at around $8. And since then, Solana looks like it's up over 2,500%. That's a 25x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $25,000. And the bull run is just getting started. The list goes on and on and on. Our team called Sui, Ondo, and even some of the biggest cult-based meme coins like MOG back in July 20th of 2023, the day that MOG launched. So if you want to learn how our team is finding these altcoins before they explode, we just launched Altcoin Pro University, where our research team gives you real-time altcoin picks with explosive potential for this bull run, along with 100+ expert curated classes crafted by industry experts to discover these gems yourself, on top of our live weekly calls every single week for in-depth crypto market analysis and daily updates. And that's just a fraction of what we offer inside of Altcoin Pro University. Just go through the link in the description below, get in right now, watch the 26-minute video covering everything that Altcoin Pro University offers.